So here is our troubled engine. This is the starboard side. They're backwards. That's port side. This is the starboard side. They're sitting here backwards. So anyway, we're having a little issue with this engine. The running condition was terrible. Not terrible. I mean, it would even idle fairly decent, but it's just, it sounded awful. Did not sound like its brother over here at all, which this engine is tip-top. It's running great. I don't know that it could get much better, to be honest. This one right here, the port side. This engine has some trouble. It's just a real loud, there's been a real loud pop on it in the exhaust note ever since I got these engines running. This was the first one I got running, and I thought it would run out of it. I thought it was a fuel issue, but it's not. I've got this engine up to operating temperature, and it is definitely, there was something wrong. So we did a compression check, and we did it dry, and we were getting 120 readings dry. So, you know, I suspect we're going to run another one just for the sake of record keeping on both these motors and for comparison as we run them through their life before we rebuild them probably next year, which is what we're going to do. But in the meantime, we've got to figure out what's going on with these engines. So what we are with this engine, what I've done so far is I've verified it's got spark. It's getting gas. The circuits on the carb are not stopped up. Compression test, as I said, dry was really good. If it was wet, I assume it would be even better. So I started messing around with it after doing a cylinder kill test by pulling the plug wires one at a time. And then I just, for whatever reason, you got to understand, these engines are pretty much untouched. I mean, this thing has even got a Mercruiser distributor cap on it. So, you know, everything's original. These things have set pretty much in a time capsule in the engine compartment of the cruiser that they came out of since they were put in it. And I assume they're supposed to have around, you know, 750 hours on them. And I assume every one of those hours were very mild. No full throttle action or anything like that. I don't think these engines have been abused in the least. But anyway, I started messing around with it, and this cap was set about right here, which is what I thought factory set was, but apparently somebody has messed with it. I guess trying to get it, I guess the guy I bought it from might have messed with the timing, but I said it was way advanced, but I guess I meant way retarded, because the rotor in this turns this way, clockwise. So if it's forward, then that means I'm guessing that the spark is retarded from top dead center, right? So somebody can correct me if I'm wrong. So if top dead center is right here, say this is number 1, which it is, and top dead center is right here, then this would be retarded timing, anything that way of it, in front of it, retarded from top dead center. So this would be advanced, all right? So, and I don't know where top dead center is. I have no idea which way the rotor's pointed at top dead center. I haven't done that. But anyway, I backed this off the other day, and the engine started sounding much better. But the problem was it was doing short runs. It kept dying on me right after it would start, so I was wearing the starter out. So, and this is the old starter. This one's got a new starter. It was locked up. This one I had to take the starter off of and spin it up free in order to get it to even turn the motor. So this one had issues. I knew it had issues, and I was going to be replacing it. So anyway, it gave up on me, and it's one of two things. Either the starters gave up on me, or it shredded my flywheel, or flex plate, whatever back there. But you can hear, I doubt that plate is the problem. I don't think the starter's engaging. You hear that? So I think that starter's just toast at this point. I think we've got it hot. and it was already near death already. So we're gonna go ahead and that starter's down there. It's just real easy to get to with it out of the boat. Real pain in the ass after it's in the boat, but it's just 2 bolts and that hold the starter in, and then 2 bolts on the solenoid. We'll get this thing changed out, and then we're going to restart it and see if we're right on this retarded timing. I got a light with me today, so we should be able to. I don't know. Yeah, it's got a tab on it, so we should be able to check this timing fairly accurately. This light I got with me, and we'll know for sure what's up. So here we go. So guys, I've just got the starter off of the engine. I haven't got the new one back on, but I just wanted to show you what I found when I got this old starter off, because it's a new one on me. I've never seen it happen before, but here you go. That's crazy. I guess the shaft, it's got some play in it there. Of course it does now, but I'm guessing that it got misaligned somehow and popped out. I don't know how the hell that happens. I have no clue, because that shaft never comes out of there. I don't know whether this just came out here and whacked it so hard it just knocked it off or what. But flywheel looks to be fine. But yeah, you could say I got a starter issue. But we're gonna get this taken care of, and then we'll move on to the timing. So, boat, break out another 1,000. This is being a real pain in the ass. Let me show you. This fucking, what the fuck. See that screw? It's coming in from the case right there. And that's in the bolt chase, see? Kept on wondering why I couldn't get this freaking bolt in. Well, the bolt goes right up through there, and that stupid screw sticking out, causing this bolt to be kicked. So I'm gonna have to figure out somewhere or another to grind that down or something. Damn it. Took me mighty Thor hammer and me teeny chisel, and I got in there and I busted off that offending bolt. Stupid coronavirus infected starter. Thored you. Alright, so the new one's on there. Back hooked up to the battery. We're gonna try this thing out, see what happens. So the timing is, we're at a dead end here as far as the timing goes. It looks like it's dead nuts at this point, and it was off a little bit, but it was not. I got it set to dead 0, but we're still getting that pop, and it sounds like it's out of the right bank. I'm starting to think that a intake valve isn't opening. I'm checking the heat off of these on this manifold riser, and after this thing runs, the number 1 on this side and the number 7, they're both substantially cooler than the 2 runners on 3 and 5 over here. But I'm getting spark in them. So it leads me to believe it's one of 2 things. It's either I got a fuel issue, or I've got something going on in the valve train that's not opening. So I think what our next move is going to be to take my gas line out here. I think our next move is going to be to swap these carbs and see if that makes any difference on this thing. I mean, it's squirting, but I don't know whether the I mean, it's squirting fuel out of both sides, but see it. But I don't know that it's operating correctly. Something's causing it. I'm gonna start it up here, and I'm gonna see if I can't let you guys catch that pop that it's doing on every rotation. Let me see if I can get it on film here. I'll try to set you guys back here while I start this thing. See if I can't make it out on. I'll see if I can get it where you can hear that pop. Yeah, I mean they're substantially cooler. Than, if somebody knows, do the intake runners on 1 and 7 are they separate from 3 and 5? Because if that's the case, then that thing's not getting any fuel on that side. So here's my next best guess here is to take the carb off of this one and the carb off of this one, which is running great. We're going to take the carb off of it and put it onto this one, and if that doesn't solve it, then we're going to end up having to open this engine up, take a look inside and see what's going on, make sure all the valve train's functioning properly. So that's where we're at. I don't know if I'll do this in this video, or I may make another video about doing the carb swap. We'll see. So I wanted to show you guys what I found in the intake under the carb. I'm flipping these carbs out, and I think we got pretty damn lucky on this engine, to be honest, that it's holding the compression that it is, because I'm pretty sure this guy ran a shitload of water into this thing out of the factory tank at one point in time. That's the only reason I can see for all this moisture that's in here. It's caused a little bit of rust on the inside of the intake. So I am not 100% on convinced that we aren't going to end up in the valve train on this thing. This carb may fix it. I'm not 100% sure, because it would make sense as to which cylinders are getting hot, as to the way this, a primary being stopped up in this thing. So we'll see when I get this carb on here. I had to end up cutting the lines, of course, because these nuts almost never come off. So on those filters, and I'm gonna pull. I'm just gonna stick it on there with the original stock filter on it. This one's running fine on the other engine, and here, this will show you a difference. This is what it ought to look like in there. This engine right here has not had any water ran through it. This one definitely has. So, or it's gotten in there at some point in time or something. This one was also a little tighter when we first got it running. So anyway, onward and upward, we're gonna put this carb on here and see what this thing does. So we swapped out this carb for this carb. Actually, the carb that was here is now here. The one that was on here is over there. So we're gonna try this thing and see what happens here. Let's see what she sounds like with this one on here. If I can find a spot to sit you guys. That is night and day. Bingo! So we got a primary jet, or one primary stopped up on that other carb. Here's what's going on. So this thing's been running on 4 cylinders. That's what we've been hearing. 4 cylinders have not been getting fuel. So that would explain the exhaust manifold is cold on 1.7 and on 4 and 6, because I think that's right. Yeah, 1.7, 4, and 6 are on the same intake runners on the split plenum carb. So that's what led me to think that, from the timing back to it being a carb issue, because that split plenum, if you don't know, on these 454s, one side of that's a split plenum, so one side of the carb feeds 4 cylinders, the other side feeds the other 4. So on your right side, it's going to be feeding 2, 3, 5, and 8. And on the left side, it's going to be feeding 1, 2, 4, and 7. So 1, 2, 4, and 7, they weren't even firing. Basically, they weren't getting any fuel. That's why I was hearing that thing run decent when it started up. So I can't remember your name, dude, but I'm going to mention, I'll definitely give you props. Guy in offshore, classic offshore boat restoration, he's the one guy that suggested that might be the problem, and he nailed it. So you deserve props. Good ears. We got to figure it out, so now we got to rebuild the carburetor, basically.